Since ancient times, humans have been trying to find effective weapons to end wars quickly. From arrows, and now humans rely more on hot lead, which is shot through firearms such as pistols and rifles. Besides being effective against many opponents, one against one can. Throughout the history of wars between humans, the world has known various firearms that are famous for their ability to resolve conflicts. And here are the 10 most powerful firearms in history. Should only be used by those who are trained. One. MG42, produced for the Nazi German Wehrmacht and Adolf Hitler's Waffen-SS bodyguards in the second half of World War II. The Maschinengewehr MG machine gun 42, as the name implies, was produced in 1942. The MG-42 was produced to be a replacement for the more expensive and difficult to manufacture MG-34. Nicknamed Hitler's Saw for its unique sound, the MG-42 was easy to fire and could fire 1,200 rounds of 7.92 x 57mm MAUSER rounds per minute, compared to the 850 rounds of the MG-34. The MG-42's barrel relies on air to cool it. The danger is that the MG-42's barrel can melt if it is fired non-stop for 5 minutes. Because of this, the Nazi troops had a spare barrel for the MG-42 at all times. Number 2. Glocks, produced for the Austrian police in 1982 because it passed quality tests. The Glock semi-automatic pistol is still in use today because of its efficacy. In fact, if used underwater, the Glock will still be able to shoot. The first and most famous generation of Glock pistols, the Glock 17, can load up to 50 bullets, depending on magazine type. Made of polymer, the Glock pistol is guaranteed waterproof and anti-jamming only once in a 10,000 shot test. The quality was once doubted. Until now, the Glock is one of the best-selling pistols used by law enforcement officers, from the police to the national military forces. Number 3. Lee Enfield, in use since World War I, WW1. In 1895, the Lee Enfield rifle is used by the forces of the United Kingdom and other Commonwealth countries. Lee Enfield is able to load one magazine with 10 British 303 cartridges. Lee Enfield's accuracy reaches a maximum of 503 meters (2.7 kilometers) in open sight. For this rifle, British soldiers were trained to be able to do the mad minute, which is to shoot 20 to 30 bullets in 60 seconds at 30 targets. In other words, the British Army must be able to reload Lee Enfield up to 2 times and pull Lee Enfield's bolt action in less than half a second. Number 4. M2HB Deuce BMG, produced in the United States, US, since 1933. The M2 Browning heavy machine gun has a magazine with a special cartridge of 50 BMG Browning machine gun. From ground troops to air troops, 50 M2HB BMG can finish them all. The name Deuce comes from the then M2 Browning nomenclature. Just like the MG42, the M2HB BMG shells need air to cool and can fire 450 to 575 bullets per minute with a belt-fed system. In fact, if filled with special bullets, Sabot light armor penetrator, the M2HB BMG can penetrate tank armor from a distance of 500 meters. This heavy machine gun is more often seen on army cars or on old fighter planes. Number 5. Smith & Wesson Model 29 Revolver. .44 Magnum worn by Clint Eastwood as Dirty Harry Callahan. The Smith & Wesson S&W Model 29 revolver in production since 1955. Until now, the revolver is still considered one of the strongest pistols in the world. Nicknamed the Magnum, the S&W Model 29 carries 6.44 Magnum shells. Purchasing the S&W Model 29, you can choose from 7 different barrel lengths, from 3 to 10 and 5/8 inches. Until now, this double-action pistol is used by the Washington State Police in the US. Since being used by Eastwood, the S&W Model 29 continues to sell well. Price? Thousands of US dollars. Number 6. Mauser Model 1893. Although manufactured in Germany, the Mauser 1893 or M1893 bolt-action rifle is often nicknamed the Spanish Mauser, because the design was originally intended for the Spanish armed forces who wanted to improve on the Mauser Model 1889 to 1891. The Ottoman Empire also copied the M1893 model. The M1893 is one of the most well-known bolt-action rifles, apart from the MAUSER Nagant from Russia and ENFIELD from the United Kingdom. This rifle can fire 5.7 x 57mm Mauser or 7.65 x 53mm Mauser cartridges. Until now, the M1893 bolt-action design is considered the most successful because it still operates flawlessly. However, the M1893 has been out of production since 1958. Number 7. Colt Single Action Army Revolver nicknamed M1873. The Colt Single Army Single Action Revolver pistol has been in active service since 1873. Because it was often used by military and US authorities at that time, the Colt Single Army was also nicknamed the Peacemaker. This gun became a symbol of the Wild West era in the US, 1607 to 1912. That said, the Colt Single Army Revolver was a gun that was commonly used during Indonesia's struggle to defend independence from the Netherlands in the Indonesian National Revolution, 1945 to 1949. The Colt Single Army can fire 6 rounds of .45 Colt for hunting animals or fugitives. Although production was halted, the Colt Single Army is still being produced today due to high demand from collectors. Number 8. Henry's rifle. The grandfather of the rifle, the lever-action Henry rifle, was produced during the US Civil War, 1861 to 1865. The name comes from the designer, Benjamin T. Henry. Because of his strong firepower, Henry became the mainstay of the Union forces against the Confederates. Unfortunately, this rifle cannot be equipped with a bayonet. The Henry fires 16.44 Henry, .40 to .44 long Colt, and .45 long Colt rimfire specialty cartridges. If trained, a gunner could fire the Henry up to 28 rounds per minute, more effectively than a muzzle-loaded gunpowder-loaded rifle at 3 rounds per minute. The Henry rifle concept later became the main concept of the Winchester rifle. Number 9. AK-47. One of the main weapons of the terrorist units in the game, Counter-Strike. The AK-47 was produced by the Soviet Union since 1949. Even though the Soviet Union had disbanded, the AK-47 was still being produced. AK stands for Kalashnikov, by the designer, Mikhail Kalashnikov, while 47 is the year the design of the weapon was completed. After completion, the AK-47 was used by countries that were part of the Warsaw Pact, 1955 to 1991. From the Vietnam War, 1955 to 1975, to the Central African Civil War, 2012 present, the AK-47 has been seen in the hands of authorities as well as terrorists and ordinary citizens. This durable assault rifle fires 20 to 75 7.62 x 39mm shells with accuracy up to 350 meters. Since 1974, the AK-47 has been replaced by the AK-74. Because of their similar design, many are mistaken for the AK-47 and AK-74. Number 10. Colt 1911. Created by the designer behind the Browning M2, John Browning, the Colt 1911 semi-automatic pistol is also nicknamed the Government, because it was used by the US Army. Produced since 1911, this pistol, which is commonly called M1911, has been used since World War I and II, PD-1, WW2, Korean War, Vietnam War, until now in more than 20 countries. M1911 is very effective to be fired from a distance of 50 meters. The gun can load up to 8.45 ACP cartridges, and in its semi-automatic mode, the Colt 1911 can fire 85 rounds per minute. In the US, the M1911 was the standard pistol in the armed forces until 1985 before being replaced by the Beretta M9. However, a modified version of the M1911 remains in use today in the US Armed Forces. Those are the 10 most powerful and deadly firearms in the history of world wars and crossfire. In the hands of an expert, this weapon can eradicate crime or shoot at targets in races. In the wrong hands, other people's lives are at stake.